Danita, welcome back to the district. How does it feel to be back in DC?
It feels great. It's a little cold, but it's good. it's a cold, warm welcome.
Yes. Definitely different weather than LA.
Yes.
So maybe not the weather, might not be something that you miss, but is there anything that you really missed about DC?
I just miss the energy of the city. I think it's constantly moving. I love just like how you can walk down the street and you just see people everywhere. The city vibe of it, LA, we're in cars a lot. So I just love the energy of the city and the people and like the movement of the city.
What really factored into your decision to make the jump from basketball to soccer and to do it with DC United?
Yeah, for me, I see soccer right now as a place that has endless possibilities, and I think basketball has that too, but there's something unique that I believe is going on in the soccer space. The growth of the league, the continuing building of stadiums all across the country. It's just an exciting time, and I feel like the league is in a very maturing state, and I want to help contribute.
You did play soccer growing up, didn't you? I think I saw that somewhere.
I did, and I claimed that it was only, I played 2 years in college. I mean, not in college, excuse me. Whoa, that was a whole lie. I didn't mean to say college. I really meant to say high school. I played 2 years in high school. I played basketball, and we had to pick another sport to play, and I ended up playing soccer. So that was the first time I'd ever played. So I was high school age when I joined. But it was fun. Like, I truly enjoyed it. I don't claim to be the greatest of any kind, but it was good.
So you had a lot of success in the LA Sparks organization. What lessons are you hoping to bring from there over here to DC United?
Yeah, I think for me, some of the big things is the impact we can have on community as an organization. And then internally, like building strong culture. I think it starts from within and being able to really develop and help people grow in the industry. So there's some things like that I'm looking forward to having a big impact on. And of course, doing things with our fans.
I'm going to ask about culture. I've been fortunate enough to be a part of some of the conversations where I've gotten to hear what your plans are for this club. So can you describe the type of culture that you want to build here?
Yeah, I think for me, I think about often workplaces aren't considered family. And I know there's a fine line between the two, but I believe there is a thing called work family. And I believe that you can create a culture where people feel empowered, where people feel like they're contributing, and one in which they feel as though their voices are being heard. And then at the same time, they're growing and developing. So how are we helping to push them forward? How are we challenging them and letting them really be creative in their space? So I think, for me, that's the culture I want to build. And I don't think it just comes from me. I may lead part of this, but it comes from everybody within the organization to actually contribute to that. And that will help build the culture.
So everyone plays a special role in this organization. How are you going to connect the front office to the first team?
Me and Hernan actually sat and talked the other day. I was so excited to meet him. And as he was going through his philosophies, I just smiled from across the table, and I was just like, you're saying the same things I say often. We may say it a little bit differently, but I feel very in line. And, I think between our relationship of what we're trying to build, we both know that this is a new era for DC United, and we're going to continue to bring the past with us as far as like the culture and the history of the club with us. But I think it's time for development and growth. And I think we're both very much in sync on what we want, what he's looking for on the pitch and what I'm looking for in the front office.
I love it. And between you and Hernan, it's a new decade for DC United. So what can fans really expect from the team this season and in the future?
Yeah, I think this year it's really about building a foundation. Like, I can't do everything overnight. I know it. I got to pace myself. But I think what they'll see is that a foundation is being built for continued growth. The same thing I think you'll see on the pitch is like, a team doesn't come together overnight, right? So for us as a business, in order to build, we want to build sustainability. So right now, it's like from an infrastructure standpoint, how are we set up to actually sustain growth? And that's what this first year is for me. It's like really building those foundational pieces for long-term growth and stability for the organization.
So to kind of sum it up, the goals that you have for DC United, short-term, long-term goals.
Yeah. Short term, I think it'll be a lot of things that people don't immediately see because it will happen from within. I think, from a staffing standpoint, for process, procedures, things of that nature, what they'll see from the outside of that is more streamlined communications, as hopefully one day as our fans and everybody gets to have the ability to come back in stadium, the opportunity for just what that overall fan experience like, servicing side, those are some details I want to really dive into. And then at the same time, from an outward standpoint, I want to be able to tell our story. Like, what's our mission? What's our vision? How is that, told through all of our different platforms? So I think you'll see a lot of that happening over this next year in those spaces. And then from there, from a long-term perspective, growth. I want this place packed. I want great programs in the community that really have impact, that we're able to say, look at what we were able to help contribute and be a part of. So I think with that, you will see that from a long-term perspective. I think we'll have some short-term wins in this in the very beginning, but it's not just about a one thing win, And so I think for the fans, my biggest thing is that I don't want it to be like one thing that's judged. I guess I want to make sure I say that properly. Like, they're going to view us, they're going to watch what we do, and everybody's going to have their opinions, but know that it'll be more than one thing. It won't just be one community event. It won't just be one thing in stadium. Like, there's going to be multiple things that we do that add the layers and depth to our organization.
This is such a big change and a new adventure for DC having you here, but for you, what are you most excited about for this new adventure for yourself?
I like the challenge. I love a challenge. I like to be pushed. Just as much as I talk about what we want to do as a staffing standpoint, like, I like my mind to be constantly stimulated and to have opportunities to be up against something that maybe people can't quite see, that I can create a vision for and then help implement that vision and create change. And so for me, being here is like, how good can you be? How great can you be? How far can you go? But at the same time, I believe in balance. So as much as I want the greatness for us here, I take care of myself at the same time, because the better I am within, the better I can be to others.
And I want to go back real quick for this last question to the relationship that you and Anand are developing. How is that relationship really going to develop? How often do you guys plan on working together, communicating on the changes that you guys have?
Yeah, well, we've moved to WhatsApp friends, which I think is great. So we've already started communicating. So I feel like I could check in at least, every couple of days and get a good message in. So I definitely want to go out and watch a practice. I'm very excited to be able to do that very soon. But I think we're going to be in constant communication. We're going to do some events together. You'll see us together. And I think that's a representation of what first team and front office, that's the future of us. And I hope people get that. Like, we're not two different things. We may oversee different areas of this business, but together we're still trying to make this work.